Miles Sanders just looked fresh week number one, and he didn't do a whole hell of a lot in preseason, whether it's injured or overprotection or bubble wrap or whatever else. Damn, Johnny Mac, he looked fresh. And I was getting tweets, you got to get Miles Sanders signed to a contract extension. I'm going, whoa.
Yeah. You don't got to worry. Don't worry about that.
With John McMullen, I'm Jody McDonald. You got Mac here on Birds 365. Please like, share, and subscribe to the show. We got over 300 viewers right now. Every single one. If every single one of you hit the like button right now, you'll make McMullen's hour, his day, his week. Show some love to your boy Johnny Mac. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. All right. I'll tell you why like, share, and subscribe after the performance he had in week number one. And that's Miles Sanders. He's one of those guys. I'm going to continually harp on. I think the Eagles are overdoing it with their less than physical preparation for the season. There are certain things you can point to and say, hey, it worked. There are other things you can point to, and I have, and say, no, it doesn't work. But you can also break it down individually. And Miles Sanders just looked fresh week number one, and he didn't do a whole hell of a lot in preseason, whether it's injured or overprotection or bubble wrap or whatever else. Damn, Johnny Mac, he looked fresh. And I was getting tweets, you got to get Miles Sanders signed to a contract extension. I'm going, whoa.
Yeah. You don't got to worry. Don't worry about that.
I'm not buying it. And you look at the vacuum that's in. I don't think the Eagles are buying it either. They just don't put a ton of value on the running back position. But hey, while he's here, while they got him, while he's having games like he had on Sunday, enjoy it, Eagle fans, because John and I both agree they won the game because of Jalen Hurts and the plays that he made. You may get ticked off that he ran as many times as he did and have that big picture view of he's going to get hurt because he's putting himself at risk too often. And you may be right. I'd rather narrow focus on one game, one win, but everybody handles their business how they want. Miles Sanders was probably the second biggest reason they won that game. He was damn good on Sunday, Johnny Mac.
Yeah, that was the big, the Eagles got the ball back with 3:51 left. So perfect example of 4-minute offense. You want to run out the clock, right? Perfect scenario. And the Eagles ran the football 6 consecutive times when everybody in the building knew they were going to run the football. So there's this weird, I wouldn't say it's a big narrative, but some people said the offensive line didn't play well. Miles got bottled up on a 3rd and 2, right on the first drive in the 4-minute offense, completely bottled up, and then he just bounced to the outside, and that was that big 24-yard game. That play essentially sealed the game. It really did. Now, you can talk about the 4th and 1, the quarterback sneak, which, by the way, live looked awful close. I didn't even know if he got it live, but and I obviously sealed the game. But that 24-yard run, that was really, really spectacular stuff from Miles Sanders. And yeah, that 4-minute offense, the coaches were beaming over that because that's exactly what, that's really difficult to do when everybody knows you're going to run and you run. And I'm going to go back to Jalen Hurts on this. That's part where people don't realize his presence on the field, how much easier it makes for those backs. So when you talk about the Eagles don't value that position, look, every single one of them, Miles Sanders, who's really talented, Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, Trey Sermon, if he gets in there, they're all better because Jalen Hurts is on the field, because everybody on the defense is so concerned with Jalen Hurts keeping the football. It makes it easier for those running backs as well.
Gainwell got a couple more carries than I thought he was going to. He got 5 carries, which I didn't know was going to have before the game started, and he did catch a couple balls out of the backfield. Are we surprised at how much they actually use Gainwell? I know the Eagles like the rotating backs, and they did it last year. But Gainwell didn't show much in the preseason. Then again, neither did Miles. But Miles was everybody's assumed number 1 back. Any surprise with the way they use Gainwell?
No, I was more surprised how they used Scott. I just talked about that drive. The
Yeah.
next three plays were all Boston Scott. The next three, they went 3 to Miles, and the next three were to Boston Scott, and he got 9 yards, and that set up Jalen Hurts' quarterback sneak. Um, Kenny was always going to be the third down back. He's always going to be the hurry up back. He's, in some ways the goal line back, which is weird that I've talked about. So he was always going to have a role, even though he didn't have a great summer. With Boston Scott, I thought if you go back to last year, the Eagles started the season, it was Miles and Kenny. And I thought they would keep it with Miles and Kenny. The fact that Boston Scott, he only ran it 4 times. He ran it 3 times to close out the game.
Right. Weird.
That's weird. That's weird. But they have so much respect for Boston Scott and his ball security, and they know he's fundamentally sound. That says a lot. But it is a little bit weird that you don't play anybody, you don't give him the football, and then say, "Oh,
you give
we
him
got to
once,
seal this
you give
game."
it to him once down by the goal line, and he takes it in, which he usually does.
Yeah.
And you've had him in mothballs the rest of the time, and you're going to turn to him for the very last possession of the game. It was, as you say, a little bit weird. All right, running back on the other side. We've mentioned now a couple of times, John's giving you the Pro Football Focus numbers. Eagles the most missed tackles in week 1 in the National Football League, which made them the worst tackling team week 1 in the National Football League. And that was against DeAndre Swift, who's a good running back, Philly kid, want to root for him, all that stuff. He's not Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook has been a better running back in his career. And specifically, if you watch Dalvin play, he is the kind of guy, if I had told you before the season started, there's going to be a running back who is going to pile up 150 plus, and it's going to be because he breaks tackles, and it's going to be in the first 2 weeks against the Eagles, it would have been a no-brainer. It's got to be Dalvin Cook because A, he's a better runner, and B, he's a tougher runner. He's one of those very good combo backs who can both beat you with speed on the outside and run through a tackle between the tackles to get extra yards. Should we be scared of Dalvin Cook coming up this week, Johnny Mac?
Well, you should always be scared of Dalvin Cook, but I think the Eagles got a bit of a wake-up call. Let's put it this way. I'm taking the under on 9.6 yards per carry, even though Dalvin Cook's a better player. So a lot of it, I think, is just, again, if you tackle well, if you tackle better, you don't even have to tackle well. If you tackle minimally better, you're not going to have those issues. And then 35 points, I'm taking the under. Minnesota's a far more explosive team. I don't think people pay enough attention to situations. I really believe that, Jody. Minnesota's a better offense than Detroit. They have a much better quarterback. They have better receivers. They might have the best receiver in football. That's how good Jefferson is. Thielen might be the best second receiver in football when he's healthy. That's how good he is. Cook is top 5 running back. They have good tackles. They're a better football team than the Detroit Lions. However, because of what happened last week, it makes things more difficult for Minnesota. The Eagles are going to tighten things up. They're going to get all their P's and Q's. I'm not even going to say they're going to win the game, but I am going to say Dalvin Cook isn't going to average 9.6 yards per carry, and the Vikings aren't going to score 35 points. There's ebbs and flows to this.
I would agree with that too. And we got all the way till next Monday to make an official pick on the game. But yeah, as far as the Eagles' less than stellar defensive effort, I would predict as of now a better overall defensive effort. Points scored, yards allowed, all those things. Yeah, just because they will get some work in. Hopefully Jonathan Gannon gets in their shorts and gives them a hard time, that they come out better prepped and ready to go. All right, one other thing I want to run by you before we punch Damo up. He's going to join us in a couple minutes. And this is something I just need your overall expertise with, because I get it. On Sundays, you don't have the chance. You're watching the Eagles. You're going down to the locker room. You're jumping on the JAKIB Media post-game show here.
And by the way, that was unbelievably tough at halftime because they have an open-air press box, and poor Devin Caney, I couldn't hear her. She couldn't hear me. It was unbelievable, Jody. Unbelievable.
All right. Well, you earned your paycheck. Good for you. I'm sitting in front of a TV. I got to do a national football show after at 6 o'clock, so I need to be jumping around watching every single game. After I zero in mostly on the Eagles in whatever window they're playing in. I saw this a couple times, John, and I can't watch every single day. I tape a couple of them. I go back and watch a couple things afterwards. But I saw this a couple times and it annoyed the snot out of me. Maybe, again, the old school tendencies that I have, the fact that they've changed the game of football to, again, give such an advantage to the offense. And I wasn't really all that evidenced of pass interference everywhere over the first week. They actually, it wasn't as big a deal as it has become the last couple of years in the NFL. But here's one upside that the offense has, and no one ever talks about it, or this call is never made. I saw not one, not two, three blatant plays where I think 2 and 3 were running back. One was either wide receiver or tight end. It was a short completed pass, but the offensive player extends his hand, stiff arms the defender to the face. He gets his hand right up in the defender's face and pushes him in his face mask and turns the ball upfield and continues to make yards. On offense, if an offensive lineman goes to the face of a defender, here comes the flag. Illegal hands to the face. Illegal hands to the face. But on offense, you've got the ball. They're trying to tackle you. You are allowed to just put your hand up underneath the chin of the defender to ward him off when you're trying to make an offensive play. How is that not hands to the face? How is that not illegal hands to the face? They do it all the time.
Well, your first mistake, Jody, is expecting the NFL to do things logically. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You can't grab the face mask if you're a ball carrier. That's the only way they're going to call it. You can do whatever the hell you want. Right. Otherwise.
But the same exact thing, and sorry to interrupt, John, a defensive lineman come in and on a play. If he gets his hand up underneath the defender's chin, can't do that. Oh, that's 15 yards. Illegal use of hands in the face. But a guy who's got the ball in his hands is allowed to literally punch a guy underneath the chin and lift his helmet up, and he gets away with that because he's an offensive player.
It makes no sense, and it's the rule. It's always been the rule, and it's not changing. But you're right. It makes absolutely no sense. But yeah, they're never going to call it because it's not illegal. And the other aspects, for the other players, it is illegal. So yeah, there's no logic. It's the most over-legislated game in the world. It drives me insane. I talk about it all the time. And that's why I never complain about officials. You'll very rarely hear me complain about officials. Doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do about it. Control what you can control. Doesn't matter. Get a bad call, go on to the next play. Doesn't matter. You can complain about it. It drives what drives me crazy, Jody, is the constant complaining on Twitter. Like Jalen, the borderline late hits, which, by the way, I gave Nick Sirianni tremendous credit. He didn't complain about him. Jalen Hurts didn't complain about him. Why are you complaining about him? I see so many fans get so many. It's bang, bang. It's borderline. They're not supposed to throw the flag unless, the defender hasn't committed before the slide starts. Nick didn't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it.
And specifically on that one play, Jalen got into a slide a little bit late.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. You're going to every once in a while have a play and there was one where I really didn't like the mark. Jalen went into a slide, and I think he thought he was going to get further marked down. He came up, he was like right at the stick, and he came up and they marked it 2 yards short because it's where the ball is, not where his feet are.
Yeah.
It's where the ball is. And Jalen came up.
And where the ball is when you immediately start the slide.
Right.
That's where, so they're usually right on that kind. We're really close. Yeah. I mean, and then we talk about, I'm sure we'll get into it at Damo, because I wanted to bring up the 17 carries again, the injuries. How many quarterbacks? I'm going to try to find a study. I'm sure it was done. Quarterbacks get hurt much more in the pocket than they do outside of the pocket. Much more. I'm not saying always. I've seen Aaron Rodgers, one of his big injuries was outside of the pocket when he broke his collarbone the one time. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but there's more injuries with. I don't get that narrative. And Jalen does a very good job of protecting himself. He's very good. We mentioned maybe he's a little bit late with the slide on occasion. Michael Vick couldn't even slide. Remember? I mean, he never played baseball, or evidently. He does a very, very good job, Jalen Hurts, of protecting himself. And again, last year he got injured in the pocket, not outside of the pocket.
Right. But John, if you can find a good study on it, please feel free to share. It's got to be done correctly. It's like this used to annoy the snot out of me. More deaths in cars every day in America than in plane crashes. Well, no kidding. Tens, hundreds of millions of people are in cars every single day. How many people are on planes in the U.S. every single day? Of course there's more death because there's just more activity. Same thing with in the pocket and out of the pocket. How many NFL plays actually end up, each offensive play that's run with the quarterback out of the pocket? 8%?
No, well, of course you're not doing it as much, but if you're on the field as a quarterback in the NFL, you can get hurt. So that's my mindset is I'm going to take advantage of what my particular quarterback does well. Right. I'm not going to limit him because he might get hurt, because we all might get hurt. And I always go back to Zach Ertz. What is the injury rate in the NFL, Zach Ertz? If he were here, 100%.
Everybody's getting hurt at some time. Johnny Mac, Jody Mac, the Mac guys here on Birds 365. Coming up next, Paul Domwich, 3013.com, JAKIBSports.com, all around bon vivant and savant when it comes to the National Football League. Damo joins us next here on Birds 365.